With me today is Margret Daley. She has been writing books for many years, and we're going to talk about, among other books, Cowboy Protector. Now, what kind of romance is that?
This is a romantic suspense, and it's a Christian fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a faith element in it. And it's really about 50% romance and 50% suspense.
Mm-hmm. I've found that's a very popular way of combining a couple of genres these days.
It's probably my favorite. If I read, that's probably what I read, and it's my favorite to write, but it's tough to write because there's a lot of research involved and there's a lot of plotting. It's very, it's very plot driven because of the suspense, and you've got three elements that you're trying to interweave into a story, and one's the romance, one's the faith, and one's the suspense, and so that's quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you get your characters from real life?
No, but I do warn my friends that, I do pull from my life when I'm thinking of different characteristics that I want to do, or a little scene or something. And so I said, you just never know when you'll end up in my book.
Right.
So.
Yeah, well, you can say something and all of a sudden realize your friend is writing it down.
Yes. Or just saying, oh, that's a cute incident. I'll just have to remember that.
Right. Now, in Cowboy Protector, what kind of suspense? What trouble have you put them into?
Oh, a lot, actually. The woman was in the witness protection program, and she had a scare and thought that she had been compromised, so she left and went on the run. Mm-hmm. So she's kind of living what we call underground. And there are some people in this country who have, kind of live off the grid, you might say. And she takes a job on a ranch to take care of this little girl who's been in a car wreck. And she's 5 years old, and the little girl's trying to recover, and they need somebody there with medical training to help her with some stuff. And the thing she doesn't realize is that people are after her, and she doesn't know that. She had thought she's safe, and nobody would know where she is. And it's very kind of in Montana, and, out in the middle of nowhere, and
right.
And people find her, go after her, so there's a lot of suspense in it.
Right. Now, do you get your plots from reading the news, or do they just come to you?
They come everywhere. Some of it's news. One book I wrote was because I was fascinated with the Amazon jungle, and so I wrote a book placed in the Amazon jungle. It's probably my favorite book that I wrote, and it's a suspense, but they just come. It's just hard to explain where. The one that's coming out in April, called Love Lessons, my publisher asked me to write a series around homeschooling. So I came up with a 3-book series placed with homeschooling as the theme, but through all 3 books.
Now, did you have to do a lot of research for those?
Yes, I have. I did not homeschool, but I was a teacher for 27 years. At Jinx High School, and so I have a lot of experience teaching, but I talked to a lot of people, and I have some friends who homeschooled, so I really wanted to kind of immerse myself in doing that.
Was it difficult to come up with plots that involve homeschooling?
Well, homeschooling is just kind of the backdrop,
okay.
But each one had a reason the child was taken out of school, and then it's something that the parent would be wrestling over. My second book in the series, coming out in July, the woman has a child that's really very smart. He's a genius IQ, and she felt like she wasn't equipped to teach him, and yet he wasn't learning in school. He was having a lot of difficulty with the school environment. So she used this as an alternative to see if it would work, but she really questioned, would she be able to challenge him enough? And so this is an issue that a lot of parents go through, and so I wanted to explore that particular issue.
And what other kinds of books have you written?
Names or just give it to me.
All of these are under the imprint of Love Inspired. Is that the general kind of romance that you write?
Since the year 2000, I have sold over 30 some odd books that are Love Inspired. They have historicals, contemporary and then romantic suspense, and I've done contemporary and romantic suspense. Before that, I did write for the secular market, and it was mostly contemporary. I did do a couple of historicals.
Well, do you feel like you're more fulfilled as a writer writing for the Christian romance?
I absolutely love it. I found my home. I have to concentrate. We have no sex in the book. They're very clean. I have multi-generational families reading them. I mean, the child versus the mother, then the grandmother. You know, they just kind of passes through the family, and I love that. I love the fact that a 13-year-old will write me and said, "I got this from my mother," or "I got this from my grandmother," and you know, that kind of thing. But they're clean, and there is a faith element in it, but it's, you know, you don't preach. You just, it's there. It's just part of the story woven in. And I like it because I concentrate on the characters. I don't have to rely on a sex scene to carry my book. I really concentrate on the plot and the characters, and if I do it well, then that's what's going to hold a reader, because they're going to really care.
Well, and you have to look at the characters. There's got to be a reason other than Manny's hot in bed to want to spend your life with him.
So what I do is I focus on the connecting, the emotional connection between a man and a woman when they're falling in love. Because if you don't have that, it's not going to last.
Right.
And that's the part that we show, is that real deep emotional connection, and that's really what a romance is to me.
Right. Now, the Cowboy Protector is coming out in March, is it not? And then you have 3 in the homeschooling series.
Love Lessons will be out in April, and then the Heart of the Cowboy, which is the sequel, is in July, and then A Daughter for Christmas is my November, and that'll be the last one in the homeschooling series.
Are you working on something else?
Yes, I'm working on, I think, A Christmas Bodyguard. It's a series for suspense, for the suspense line about women bodyguards. It's an agency that does female bodyguards, and I'm writing the first one right now.
Okay. Well, did you do a lot of research for that as well?
I have, thankfully, a friend who has worked for the police force and has been a U.S. Marshal, and he's got a lot of background. So when I get in trouble, I go, what would I do here? I mean, I use some expert advice. That's what I do. So yeah, but you do have to do research.
Well, that's one of the nice things about being an author. I think you can ask all sorts of inquiring questions.
I've called the FBI up before. I'm thinking, okay. Well, I mean, you know, when you do a story about the FBI, you want to get
get it right.
Yeah, so you go to the source. That's my feeling. So I've done some of that, and you know, I figured, well, you should see my library and all the books I have in there. They might haul me away. I have poison books, how to murder. But I mean, that's the kind of research I have to do. So.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us today. Margret Daley has been here talking about Cowboy Protector, which is coming out in March, and Love Lessons, which you'll find in April. Look in your library and your favorite bookstore.